Once upon a time, not back as far as the dinosaurs, but certainly when the woolly mammoths ruled the earth, there was a young California hippie girl with long brown hair, bracelets up to her elbows, clothes made out of India print bedspreads, who wanted to make a difference in the world. And she thought, let's blur her out at this point so you don't keep making the comparison. By the way, the good news is I grew cheekbones as I got older, so that was a good thing. She thought that her newly minted UCLA MBA was going to be all that she needed to succeed in the business world. And when she, and yes, that was me, when she got to the business world, she found she was a stranger in a strange land, and that all the rules that had applied to her successfully as a student did not, or a waitress, did not apply to her as a striving corporate executive. But I was very lucky. I was a real good student. I'm smart, I'm ambitious, I care about things, and I listened, and I had great mentors. I was very fortunate in the people that helped me. And I had people, all men, by the way, who taught me, what does it mean to be a truly powerful leader? What does it mean to be successful? And those lessons served me very, very well, and I ended up as the Senior Vice President of Employee Relations and Learning for UBS Financial Services on Wall Street. But I learned some really hard lessons as well. And the hardest lesson that I ever learned was that my ambition, my intelligence, my fervor, my intensity, my newly minted UCLA MBA were all critically important. But they weren't enough. Because what I found was that I saw brilliant ideas. I saw terrific careers, and I saw wonderful people. And I saw the brilliant ideas get dismissed, I saw the careers get derailed, and I saw those wonderful people get kicked to the curb, not because of their ambition and their intelligence and their credentials, but because they couldn't make a powerful and compelling connection with the important people around them. And I saw something else that I know no one in this room, maybe some of the people who were here on Tuesday have seen this, but no one in this room has seen this. I saw people succeed despite the fact that they had no real results. They were all charisma and no deliverables. Oh, nodding heads. Well, maybe, I'm so sorry. On Wall Street, we call those people empty suits. And in Texas, I found out last year, they call that, anybody know what they call that? All hat and no cattle, exactly. And I thought, you know what? That really stinks. That's not right. It's against what I believe the world should be like. So when I moved back to my hometown of San Diego, when I dropped out of Wall Street and said, this is not what I want, and quit, and moved home to be with my now 99-year-old mother, who still drives.
Oh, wow. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. She's also a working artist and still paints fabulous and beautiful pieces. Yeah, she's amazing. When I did that, I said, I am going to make it my business and my goal to help people find ways to make a more powerful connection to the important people around them. Because a lot of the techniques are, as Frank was talking about, they're relatively simple. And I will tell you, a lot of the things I'm going to talk to you about today are simple, but you're not doing them. You're not doing them deliberately and thoughtfully and with intention. So what I'm going to try to do is remind you of a lot of the things that you already know and point out to you, you can do it on purpose. You can do it for yourself, and you can do it for the people around you. Because my goal is to help, my written goal, my personal mission, is to help others become more powerful, confident, and aligned with who they are at their deepest and most authentic core while delivering business results.
Beautiful.
I like it.
And my secret mission is this, that when I leave this world, there will be some number of people who will be happier because of the work that I do. So that is my goal, and that is my goal for you, that some of these techniques help you and your clients become happier with your lives and your work. Then my life becomes worthwhile. So thank you ahead of time for that. Okay, so I want you to think about how to create connection, and really this is about creating connection through the stories you tell. Now, I have my formal agenda, and we'll refer to this a little bit. The first part of it is the science, why stories work, how they operate in the brain slightly differently than other information. And part two, I'm going to give you quickly a whole bunch of techniques for you to think about for the future. Right? So this is the overall goal. I will tell you I have 3 major goals for you in this. My third most important goal is to expand your idea of what story means. Expand your idea of how to create connection with story and not just think of a straight narrative. Think about stories in a different way. And so I'll talk about actual stories and the way to make data feel more like story. I will remind you, as I said, my second goal is to remind you to do things deliberately that you know that you probably should be doing, but you don't think about regularly. And my number 1 goal is to find ways for you to be your true, full, interesting, intriguing self when you're working with your clients. I will also tell you it will help you sell your services better and in a more authentic way that creates value both for you and them, and make sure that the connection is mutual, if you think about these things. So that's my number 1 goal. So I'm going to launch in and talk about stories in general. If you think about how we learn, what kind of stories are there out there? What kind of stories have we learned the morals and values of our lives from? Fairy tales, myths, fables, hero stories, absolutely. Harrowing stories possibly too. Allegories, pardon me? Archetypal. Metaphors, allegories, all of those things we learn from. Here's some of them, and there's also things like your grandmother talking about her youth. We learn from stories. We teach, inspire, engage, and influence people through stories, not through straight data. And I'm going to talk about how that works. And frankly, stories also enable us to sell in a way that is different than strictly the standard selling ways of doing it. Anybody here, quick poll, how many of you have ever experienced a truly great salesperson? Okay. How did that person make you feel? Valued? Cared for?
Had choice.
That you had a choice, that you made the choice, not them. Listened to?
Relational.
Understood? Oh, if you're a salesperson, wouldn't you like to make that happen with your clients, right? That they would feel that way about you rather than something was being pushed on them, right? I like to say they didn't make you feel like you were being sold. They connected with what was important for you, and they inspired you to buy. They had that choice. They made that choice. And so really, making, if you want to call it selling in this way, is really about creating that kind of connection. And stories do that in a variety of ways, so that's why we should tell them. I say inspiration is giving or receiving a vision of a transformed future.